Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 52. That makes us sound kind of old.
Some of us are older than others.
Some of us are just going to be about as old in how many days? 4 days?
Less than that.
Yeah. So
3.
hello.
Hello.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lola. I'll be turning 30 this week.
On Thursday.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday? Thursday's the 31st, you're right. So Wednesday. You'll be old.
I know when my birthday.
I know my name today, so that's as much as you can expect out of me. So, okay, yeah, this is how it goes. We'll get started. Works in progress. What you got?
I am working on my Numma Numma socks. They're wee and tiny. I'm just getting, you can't even really see them. I'm just getting the first little bit. They are out of Numma Numma, is it the usual?
Yes.
In the TheKnitGirll's colorway. So, I don't know if this is actually the TheKnitGirll's colorway, but I've deemed it so.
I think it's Lunch with the Knit Girls is what she called it.
It's pretty, and I liked it, and winding it went awesome this morning. So that's first. That's what I'm going to be attempting to work on while we record. We'll see. The next thing that I'm knitting on is the pie shawl. And look, there's less yarn.
There is less yarn.
Because there's been lots of rows in it this week. And by lots, I mean 8.
Times 600 stitches. That's that's almost 5,000 stitches.
Yeah, it's a little less than 600, but I'm going to say it's 600 because it makes it sound better.
It does make it sound more.
So, I am on the second row of the second repeat of this chart. This is clue number 4. And you can see the little diamond type shape that's being formed. And it's getting quite large.
It is.
I worked on it when I went to Alabama with the 6th graders and a couple 7th graders and a couple 8th graders. I went with the Beta Club to the Space Museum on Thursday. I got up at 3:30 in the morning.
God.
And got home at 8 o'clock at night.
And then had to be up again at 5:30.
Yeah, so it was, but like that museum is fabulous. So, and we had a great time. The kids were awesome. So I was very happy with their behavior. So, this is it. And I actually have 3 more balls of this yarn, but I don't think I'm going to touch a whole lot more. I have 5 more. I was going to make this section bigger, but the more I work on it, the more I think I'm not going to.
She's over it at this point.
So, because I did increase 2 of the other sections to make it a little bit bigger because I'm using a lace weight, and Wendy, when she wrote the pattern, actually used a sock weight, a fingering weight. And that's that. So 5 more repeats of this chart, and then the edging chart, and then I'm done. And my goal for the week was to get 1 repeat through 1 repeat of the chart, and which is a little over 1 row a day. And I did, which made me very happy. And I'm 2 rows into the next one. So I'm ahead of the ball game with the pie
how you
shawl.
set yourself goals all the time. Every day there's new goals.
Yep.
But it gets stuff done.
It does. Goals are good.
What about this here?
Oh, yeah. See, I just picked stuff up. This past 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Kay of the Mason-Dixon girls, how do I want to put this? Created a pattern called the Mitered Crosses Blanket. And the proceeds go to Japan relief effort. It actually goes to the Mercy Corps. This, along with 3 other patterns that are very similar, in that the proceeds go to charity to help relief in Japan. The other 2 that I purchased were Wendy Johnson's
Japanese
garden shawl, and then Janelle Laidman had a gorgeous shawl that I believe is Japanese. The word is Japanese for strength. So I bought all 3 of those. And this week, Wheezy and my mom, Mama Linneman, bought a 5th wheel.
Which is an RV for people that don't speak the language, because I didn't.
It's a 5th wheel, and actually theirs is a toy hauler, so it's got a garage in the back where they can put the motorcycles and take them with them. And I had been thinking about this for a while, and I decided that this would be the perfect project to do for them. So for Christmas this year, the goal is to make them this blanket. And it's doable if I can do 2 blocks a month. So this is the first block. It's out of Nora Silk Garden. It's so funny. I got this at Blooming Yarns, and they labeled it as rainbow, but the color number is 87. This is lot T, and it's very fitting in my mind that this blanket is done out of a Japanese yarn for Japanese relief. And then the contrast color that I'm going to do for this square is this one, which is browns, but it's really browns with rainbow, and it's number 279.
So this is Silk Garden?
This is Silk Garden.
So we're both doing blankets out of Silk Garden.
That's because we're both awesome.
But apparently that's what awesome looks like.
This is what awesome looks like, in case you're wondering. Mr. Awesome got me this shirt for my birthday.
Yeah.
So I had to wear it, and it's awesome.
That's the drinking word for today. Awesome.
The very cool thing about this blanket is that it is inspired by a book called Log Cabin Quilting. It's a Pottercraft book. I actually got it from my mom for Mother's Day. This, along with a pair of socks, is going to be what she's getting. But I think it's very neat that it's actually the cover quilts that Kay used that quilt as inspiration. So then I started flipping through and thinking, hey, if she can do that, I can kind of get inspired in the same way. So I just wanted to talk about, briefly, for 5 seconds, about using quilting books for inspiration for blankets, but other things. So this is a log cabin type blanket, and the only thing that's switched around is color placement. So I thought it was very interesting how lights and darks, how you can change optically, create an illusion through changing the lights and darks. I also, there's a ton of quilts in here I tabbed because I like them and I want them. But I also thought it was very cool. They have some other things that are not quilts, like a camera case. And I thought that would be a really neat item that I could knit using the log cabin method and create on my own. So I might do a little case for my iPod out of leftovers, cotton scraps from my log cabin blanket that I did last summer.
That'll be fun.
So this is a very cool book. If you quilt, I highly recommend it. But I think it's also really interesting to get inspired by things like quilting books and embroidery and other things. I know Emo's been doing a lot of embroidery or cross stitch lately.
We have a lot of our viewers who do quilting as well. So.
And I just think it's really neat to get inspired by other crafts and for other people to make me quilts.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's get to the root issue here.
But it's really, really pretty. This, and then there's another book that's got an owl on the cover. It's like a log cabin owl. Or a quilted owl is very cool. I'll have to link both those books in the show notes. But
yeah, you linked me to that, and I linked it to our friend Jackie of the Keeping It Real podcast, and she was like, yeah, I already have that. It's really cool. So.
And I told Becky today, because I call Becky sometimes on my way to Leslie's, and I was like, you have to see this book. And she's like, I already have. So that is all the works in progress that are active for me. I do have some secret projects, and I had a fail this week in that I was using my signature DPNs to work on one of my secret projects, and I lost one. So I'm going to have to order a new one before progress can really resume on that project, which makes me sad. But
it is sad, but at least you can buy them individually.
Yeah, if the worst thing that happens to me this week is that I lose an $11 needle, I mean, it could be much, much worse. So.
Okay, I think I might have gone over what I need to do. Okay. Sorry.
Works in progress for you?
My works in progress, I still have a secret project that I'm working on. I should be able to show that to you guys in 2 to 3 weeks. But until then, I'm working on, last night actually, well Friday I think was when I started it. I told Laura that I have nothing, I haven't touched anything that I can show y'all, so I put down the secret project.
I told her to put stuff down and start.
Yeah, she's bossy.
I am.
So what I did was...
He comes from bossing around middle schoolers all day long.
I already had the first Numa Numa sock that she asked us to test knit for her. And so I started the second one. And it looks like I've just finished the cuff. I need to actually count this, so I will. But this is the... Laura's already talked about the yarn, but we're knitting it out of the same thing.
I forewent the toasty to go for this instead.
I think it'll be cool. I mean, it's you know, it's named
after us. We can be matchy-matchy.
It's cool.
Twins.
So I just, like I said, I just finished the cuff part. I think I got to count, and then I'll have to start the heel, which should be fun while we're recording.
You can work on my modern square.
That's not going to happen.
Or my partial. I think it's enough.
Definitely not going to happen.
Round.
But yeah, so that's the only thing I can show y'all that I'm working on. But we have FOs this week.
We do.
We did kind of have to cheat, sort of, in a way to get this, but I'm moving your stuff because it's in my way.
That's fine.
Okay, so do you want to do your FOs first? Or?
Sure. I finished the Twisted Fiber Art socks. Let me put them on a blocker.
Nice.
I like them a lot. I actually used Leslie's afterthought heel tutorial to do the heel, and by using her tutorial, I mean I sat here and said, "Hey Leslie, what do I do next?" So
we need to add that as an available option to the site. Call Leslie.
So that's what they look like.
Do the heels match?
No.
Oh, okay.
Why would I match?
I'm just
the
curious.
heels?
That's all.
No, I used what was left over, and I had a good bit left over actually. And Amelia Bella already claimed the leftovers because I told her, because she's been lusting after this colorway and it's not available on their site right now, that she could have it to do some baby socks for a bug.
That's cool.
Out of. Yep. So that's the first finished object, and I love them, and I can't wait to wear them. I'm probably going to wear them to work tomorrow. And I blocked these so the heel's nice and straight.
They look very
Actually
nice.
used my Bryson blockers.
Those are the ones that are like wire, right?
Yep. Signature has ones that are very similar,
I'm drawing
but
it
lots
like y'all
more
can see
expensive. And so I used those and I put them on my sweater drying rack, and I washed them last night in soak, and they smelled delicious, and they dried overnight, which made me super happy. My other finished object has not been blocked yet because I was waiting.
For me.
Yeah, well, no, that's not true. I was waiting until we did the review to do it. So back in December, that's shameful to admit,
Yes.
Three Ewes Twisted and Fiber sent us some of their new Tencel blend to review. And this colorway is called Library Knitter.
And this one is called Love Spell.
So they allowed us to have some of their fiber, and we knitted up. And I knit mine up actually the weekend that we were at Stacy's house at
Which was in
Tempted
January.
Estates.
Mm-hmm.
And Leslie took a little bit longer, but that's okay.
Yeah.
She was first with what was the one that you were real early with and I was late?
Most of them.
No, well, yeah.
I don't remember.
The ones that are behind you.
Oh, string theory.
See, string theory, I was the one dragging my feet. But I really, really liked this yarn. I just dropped the post-it notes all over the ground.
Whatever. Yeah, I really liked it as well. I was a little nervous about making socks out of Tencel, just because it doesn't tend to have a lot of stretch, but it does have a lot of sheen. So I was nervous actually, and Laura's like, just suck it up and try it in a sock before you try it in something else. And I'm glad I did, honestly. It's really stretchy and nice and shiny.
See, they're super stretchy. I think they're stretchier than typical socks that I do. Y'all can see how much stretch I'm getting. Because these are the magical socks. Let me tell you what I did with these. When we're at Tempted Estates, we tend to talk.
A lot.
And knit quite a bit. And I swore, because I did these toe up, that I had cast on 60 stitches. Because I knew that Tencel would probably stretch a little bit on me. Just based on other Tencel and bamboo yarns that I've used. Tencel is a wood fiber, just like bamboo is. That's why you get the sheen and the little bit of stretch. So I swore up and down that I cast on 60 stitches. I did not. I cast on 50. And I cast on 28 on one side and like 22 on the other. Like there was no way that...
I didn't notice it until she was several inches in.
No, I didn't notice it till I got up to here, till the ribbing. Because I did an afterthought heel. So I had just put the string in for my heel, which is typically, if I do something horrible, I count right before the heel and I catch it. Typically I count down here, but apparently my counting was not so awesome. So, like how I threw in the awesome there.
Awesome.
So these are 50 stitches around. And even though they're 50 stitches around, they fit every single person at Stacy's house. Because I made every single person try them on, including me. They had not been blocked yet. You can tell by the heel how it's kind of sticking up weird. But these are magical socks. They will fit everyone.
And they're vibrant. And the yarn was
pretty.
really nice to work with. It was smooth enough that it was kind of therapeutic almost knitting with it. And I decided...
And they went fast.
I did not want to do a typical plain stockinette because I was just in an ornery mood at that point. So I did, they're called arch-shaped socks, but you can see they have some shaping here in the front where it comes down into a V. And then on the bottom, they have shaping where it comes out of the heel and comes around. So they're called Art-Shaped Socks. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Laura can link to it in the show
Yep.
notes. And I thought, well, I'll do an eye of partridge heel to give it a little bit of interest. So on this sock, I did an eye of partridge heel. And on this one, I couldn't count and just did a regular ribbed heel. So I'm full of fail, but still, I have a pair of lovely socks that I have not worn yet because I wanted them to still be pristine for the show. But and stripes match, in case anybody's interested.
Mine do not.
But yeah, even though I did not do an afterthought heel, the stripes do match. There was a little bit of pain in getting that to happen, but it did happen. And actually, I don't think I blocked these either. I think I just stuck them on the little feet.
The
before I
ribbing
started.
looks great.
Yeah.
In that. I really like the ribbing. I really like that pattern used in striping yarn. I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah, I hadn't actually, I looked on the pattern to see if anybody had done it in a striping yarn, and at that point I didn't see anybody who had, so, you know, it looks really small, but it does have a lot of stretch to it, so, and the sock is, I can't wait to wear it, but like I said, I put off doing it because we wanted to do a review of them, and we just hadn't gotten around to doing it because I was a slacker and didn't finish knitting it. Sorry. But it's done now, so we wanted to thank the ladies from Three Ewes
Yes.
for sending us this fiber. And we also want to
Definitely.
apologize and say, I'm sorry, it took us 4 months. We're
3
slackers.
months, yeah. That's alright.
Well, I'm a slacker, Laura's not. Today.
Just for today.
Just for today.
Because it's my birthday week. Next week I go back to being a slacker.
She has a whole birthday week. It's not a day.
I have a whole birthday month.
So, they're done.
I wonder if other people celebrate their month of birth besides me.
I typically do not, but
I just enjoy celebrating in general.
You do?
That might be it.
nothing wrong with that. So, and you have another item that you're wearing.
I do. I have a cowl. It's the Stuck Like Glue cowl. Let me take it off so y'all can see
And
it.
this is a
Just
Lala's
like this,
design.
Here a little bit. This is the prototype for the actual pattern, which will be released probably next week. It is out of Malabriga. It's really a dark blue, so it might be hard to see. The next one's going to be in green. This is the slouchy version. There's going to be one that's a little bit more fitted, but y'all have to see my buttons because they are steampunk-rific. That makes me happy. It's got an applied I-cord edge that goes on 3 of the sides, and that applied I-cord edge actually becomes the button loops
Which I think is pretty nifty.
for the finished object. So that makes me very, very happy. I think it's a fun pattern. It's called Stuck Like Glue because the stitch pattern that I used is called Lover's Knot. And originally I was like, oh, it's kind of nautical and I'm doing out of blue and I was researching lighthouses and stuff because I'm a big person of names. And as I was doing that, I was listening to Sugarland, and they have a song named Stuck Like Glue, and it's about a girl, if you've ever seen the video, who kind of stalks a guy and ties him up and keeps him forever. And I just thought that was hilarious. So that's what it's called.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
So Malabriga Rios on size 8s. The pattern should be released sometime. My test knitters are fabulous, and they're done with it. So as soon as it comes out for real, I'll let y'all know. Probably next week.
Yeah.
We'll see. I have to knit the other sample and take photographs.
You don't have any spinning this week, right?
I do not. I'm spinless. As opposed to spinorific.
Okay. When was it? It was during one of the virtual knit nights. Well, and last week's show. I've been spinning the Wool Gatherings fiber. And she doesn't name her colorways, she just gives them numbers. Which, whatever, to each their own, I guess. I like names. Names can make me buy a product just based on colorway names.
Especially if they're named after books that I enjoy or
Or
something that
character
I
in a
enjoy.
movie, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, this is what it looks like unspun. This is 2 ounces. I've already spun 2. This is the other 2, which hopefully I'm going to start spinning on this evening. Michael, Mr. Awesome, told me I need to get the rest of my crap out of the other room so that he can set it up for his computer lab. So I'll be doing that later. After that, maybe I'll spin. He's not really that bossy. He gently suggested that I go ahead and get it out of there. So this is the half that I've spun, and this I've been spinning it so thin that the yellow is kind of taken over, but there's a lot of color underneath there. So this is 2 ounces of it on the bobbin. It's spun pretty thin actually, and I ordered the Spinner's W Works per inch gauge, and it helps you figure out how thick your finished yarn is going to be based on your
Where did
single.
you order that from?
I ordered it from Halcyon Fibers. There are a couple other places on the internet that had it. It's about $15. And there are applications on the iPhone. If you have one of those, you can get it on the iPhone. But
it's the I Spin toolkit for iPhone. Or
I wanted the
iPod.
physical thing. God, I'm not very literate today. I'm very Amish. Sorry about that. So I've been wanting one of these forever and just keep forgetting to order it. And I can't recommend Halcyon highly enough. I ordered it and like 2 days later it was here. It was really fast. So anyway, you can take your single and you can measure it against the numbers that they have on here. I don't know that this is going to cooperate enough. Here, you hold that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it looks like right now I'm at about a 36, which this is clear, so it's going to be impossible for you guys to see. I'm sorry. So what that means is for a 3-ply, I divide it by 3, and it'll give me 12 wraps per inch, I believe, is how it's set up. Let me look and see what it says. 36, yeah, it'll give me a 12 wraps per inch yarn, which is slightly, it's kind of a heavy fingering or a sport weight. So if I wanted it to be a 3-ply fingering weight, I would need to spin this even thinner, which is kind of hard to believe. But yeah, once you 3-ply it, it does kind of bulk up. But this is what it is right now. There are a lot more colors under here, but the yellow's kind of taken over right now. And hopefully I'll have some, at least the other bobbin done next week. I'm hoping to Navajo ply it on the bulky flyer this week to give it a test drive to see how I like it. Because that's another item we're going to review for y'all, which we've mentioned before.
Yay.
Okay. I feel all like nervous, like this is the first time I've had a podcast or something.
Ever.
I don't know why that is.
I don't know.
Okay, you talk for a minute.
Okay. So I have a finisher frogget. How about that? Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay. A few years ago, at this first spring fling, I had just purchased my first skein of wool Miza. This is the Suzanne colorway.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's very vibrant yet dark. Kind of like me. And I was attempting to get some things knit to wear to the spring fling. So I started knitting the orchid lace gloves. It's an they're not gloves, they're fingerless gloves, but it's an Ann Hansen pattern. And I actually made a mistake somewhere.
In the thumb, I thought was where.
Yeah, it was right by the thumb. I dropped a stitch and it ran and I didn't catch it right away. So it's been dupe stitch. I can't even find it now. I do good dupe stitch work. So basically what that means is if I was to rip this out, there would be a point where it would get a little bit wonky and I probably would have to cut it. So this is it. And why this is a finisher frogget is I really, really love the yarn. I really, really love the pattern, but I'm not certain they go well together.
I think they look lovely.
I think it might be a little bit too variegated. But if I decide to finish it, I want to finish it now. And the cool thing is, I think it's only going to take, I'll have to look at the original pattern, but I think it's only going to take 200 yards total to do the gloves. And I think I'll have enough to do a pair of socks out of this Suzanne. Because this is actually one of my favorite wool Miza colors ever. And I think this is the first skein of wool Miza I ever bought.
It's definitely old label.
So I would definitely want to use this up. And it's been sitting in various bags for 3 years now.
At least 3.
So it needs to get used up. It needs to be finished. So my question to y'all is, finish it or frog it? I'm leaning towards finish it, but y'all know best. So, and Leslie's like, there's never been a finish it. There needs to be.
There's always been a frogget.
It's always been a frogget, but
Speaking
I really, really like this.
I did an extra repeat on this and now I have to rip.
Aww. So that's it, and it's in my little canvas bag that Pitaloo made for me. It just zips up. It's not one of her normal bags, but I love the fabric. It's like a canvas fabric. So this is something out of the Bin O WIPs. Speaking of bags, we got a ton of stuff donated this week for our giveaway. Do you want to do that or do you want to do the review first?
I want to do the review.
Okay.
So, we are on the list for Interweave to do review items for the new items that come out. So they send us books, and most recently we got a copy of Sockupied Spring 2011, which is an e-magazine. So,
which means that you have to have internet and go to it, and it's available for
on every
download.
site. It's $14.97
Site. Yep.
US dollars. I don't know how that converts, but and this is the second one. They did one last year, a Sockupied last year, right? And I never got that one, so I can't compare this to anything else. But we both got it and looked at it.
Yep.
I'm stepping on Post-its that you dropped down here.
I was gonna clean them up, but I didn't want my head to disappear down there for.
That would be very suggestive.
Well, I'll show you. I have a Post-it note container, and it's got all these little Post-it notes in, and
things.
They're now everywhere.
So, all right, Sockupied.
Uh-huh.
First of all, it is a large file. It is a very large file. It's 400 megs. So for comparison, iTunes users who download our file, it's about as big as our video file is every week. It's large. It's very large. And you actually have to install a program called Adobe Air. Now, if you already have it on your computer, then you wouldn't have to install it. But it's not like Adobe. Well, it's part of the Adobe series, so it's kind of similar to Adobe Reader. But you have to install this Adobe Air software in order to be able to view the magazine.
It's separate downloads for Mac and PC, so if you're in a mixed household, you wouldn't be able to use it on both.
Right. Now, we haven't tested that for sure, but there are separate downloads, so that is something to keep into consideration. So now that we've talked about the file itself, we can talk about the stuff that's in it. What were your first impressions when you opened the file?
I thought it was very clean looking. I really liked how large it was.
Yeah.
And how interactive it was. So those would be my first impressions of it.
Right. The design is clean. They do have a lot of very... They're not afraid of a little bit of white space, which is good.
We like white space.
We like white space, Hong Kong, for Piddly. And they do have some interesting interactive pieces in it, like Laura mentioned. They have videos.
The editors, typically in a regular magazine there's a letter to an editor, and this one is a video from the editor.
I can't remember her name. That's terrible, but I don't remember. There are videos from Uni Jang on different bind-offs.
For toe-up socks.
There's 4 different. There's the sewn bind-off, there's the applied, there's something else. I forgot. Well, I wrote it down. Hold on.
There's a garter around.
Yeah, that's the applied. There's the doubled, where you hold the yarn double. And there's the Kitchener, I think. I may have written that down wrong.
I think it was the Kitchener.
There are also videos for feet on the street interviews, which I think is a really
I love that idea. That was one of my favorite parts. So I think the page 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's right after the editor's page.
Is feet on the street, and what they did was they interview people, and you can
apply
to be one of the people they interviewed. And it was very fascinating to me because the first one was an older knitter. She talked about how she knit a pair of socks for one of her first boyfriends, which was very cool.
Yeah.
The second was a gentleman who has an antique sock knitting machine, so it went into that a little bit. He does like 200 pairs of socks a year, something like that, and does short row heel on all of them.
But he said it takes him like an hour or something
to do a pair of sock,
yeah,
something crazy fast, which was very cool. I would go through my stash much faster if I had an antique sock knitting machine.
That would be cool to have.
It would.
So there were 3 of those, and you can, like Laura said, you can apply.
Oh, and the other woman was the woman who designed the Argyle with the pirates.
Yes.
That was very cool for her son in college. So it kind of gives you an oral history, because I'm all about history, of different people's lives in relationship to knitting.
So there was that. Those were videos. And then they had another video series on double point needles versus circulars for knitting socks and how each applies and what the benefits and the drawbacks of each were.
And they showed different circulars and the tips. Kind of did a little comparison there.
And they also had a video on the construction of Argyle. And I can't remember the lady's name who was going through it, but she showed how part of it was knit flat, and then there was part in the round, and then you went back and sewed it all up, which was informative. I actually did not know there were so many construction pieces in Argyle.
And there's
socks.
A little bit of the history of Argyles.
Yeah, there is a video where she talks for 5 or 6 minutes about the history of Argyle socks and where they came from.
Which is very interesting.
And there are also a couple of interactive pieces in there where the sock calculator is one part where there were 3 different heel flaps: short row, top down, short row heel, the top down heel flap, and the toe up heel flap.
And this was an article written by Chrissy Gardner.
Mm-hmm. And there's calculators built in. So if your heel flap has 30 stitches and you're knitting at a gauge of 8 stitches to the inch, you plug that information in and it gives you exactly what you need to do for creating that heel flap or the heel.
Mm-hmm. It also goes into the pros and cons of each different heel type of those 3 and why you might want to use one versus the other. I think she mentioned high arch. You would use, most people with a high arch tend to prefer a heel flap, I think was one of the things that she said.
I might have missed that part. Let's see, and another interactive part is at the very end there was something called Color Me Argyle, and it's essentially you can click in the color spectrum and then click on the sock and you can kind of design your own Argyle sock. You can make the diamonds whatever
It's kind of like a coloring book.
Yeah, sort of. My complaint about that is that there's no way to remember what color you clicked, so if you want 3 diamonds the same color, you have to click the color, click the diamond, try to find that color again, click the same diamond, which is it's a silly complaint, but it's one that I have. Let's see, what else did I have? It was interesting that pretty much everything in there is clickable. So if you see a designer for one of the patterns that you like, you want to see what else she's done, you click her name, it takes you to the Ravelry page or it takes you to her site where you can see her other designs. So that was something that I liked about it.
That was very cool. And something else that was clickable was they did a silk sock yarn review and they had like 6 or 7 different types of silk sock yarn and they had the swatches knit up and then when you rolled over it, the skein appeared. So you could see not only what it looked like swatched but also in the skein form, which was very cool.
That was pretty neat.
Maybe you want to buy some, what was it, Shibui Staccato, I think is there?
Yeah, Staccato is what it was. So you'll notice that we're not able to hold up a lot of these things and show you what they look like. One reason is copyright, obviously, but another is that with this Adobe Air program, it's really difficult to print anything. Aside from the patterns themselves are embedded in it, and for whatever pattern you want, there's a little button where you can download the PDF and save it wherever you want on your computer. That part's not difficult, but printing like a screenshot of the page is difficult. And in fact, I couldn't figure out exactly what I needed to do it. And the same thing goes for saving the file, because when you open it, when you download the file, it runs as an executable. It's not a file, it's an executable program. And I wasn't able to save it somewhere, so I didn't have to reinstall it every time. Now, I'm not computer illiterate. I'm not a genius, but I can typically figure things like that out. So that is a complaint, and maybe they'll modify some instructions for next time so it's a little bit easier, but I still can't figure out how to do it where I don't have to reinstall it.
Now you'll have a permanent login where you can go and log in and continually download.
Well, the file itself downloads to your directory, but when you double click it, it tries to reinstall, which is kind of frustrating for me.
I see what you're saying. Because I am computer illiterate. I was like, why can't we just save it on a DVD? If you want to free up that space from your computer, why couldn't you just put that on a DVD?
Yeah, I don't know whether that would... you could burn it on a DVD, but then you'd still have to reinstall it back on your computer. So that is a complaint. And I had another constructive criticism. I won't say complaint. They did have a lot of videos for, doing the stuff in the round and doing certain features of the Argyle sock. My only complaint is that with a company as big as Interweave, I think that the videos could have been a little bit more clear, a little more close up. I think that when you're trying to teach someone a technique, it's easiest to have the camera in a certain location where you're zoomed in directly on the hands, and it's close enough that it's valuable for you to see what it is that's being done. I do think the videos were clear, and the lighting was great, and the quality was great. And here my video snob comes out a bit, but I think it could be better. I think that there are ways to make it better.
On a side note, there is a sock pattern in there that I'm totally casting on as soon as I can find it.
I actually printed out much to Mr. Austin's dismay. I printed out all the patterns.
There are 5 sock patterns,
and we'll go through
4 of which are brand new, one of which is an excerpt from a book. So one of the brand new ones that I love that I'm going to cast on is by Star Athena.
And it's the muscadine sock. And this is what it looks like. And it is the one that has the applied edging on the cuff. So it's kind of like a lace applied edging, which I think is pretty neat.
I like that a lot.
So this is the first pattern. This one is Christy Grachi. Is that how you say it?
I think that's actually the second pattern when you're flipping through
Oh,
it, but
yeah.
it's the first one we're talking about.
And this is the Escadaria socks. I think I
Mhm.
pronounced that right. Alright, I'm going to have to fold this up a little bit so that y'all don't see the pattern directions. So this is what these socks look like. And all this stuff is linkable via the Ravelry design.
And there's some very interesting textured socks.
hmm They have kind of a little bit of a lace panel in there. So that's another one. This is the Argyle socks. This is the women's version. There are two different. There's the men's and the women's. And this is by Ann Berg. And they're called the women's McGonagall socks. And this has no direction, so I'll show you
They
the
are
page.
very cool Argyle socks.
They are. And it's neat to have the construction how-tos in the actual magazine. That I think that would help a lot. I can tell
Yeah.
y'all right now, it is highly unlikely I'm ever going to knit Argyle socks.
They're part of the Master Knitter program.
When I come to that, then perhaps. But they look like a lot of hassle to me personally. But that's my taste, not
Now
yours.
there are techniques for doing intarsia in the round,
Yeah, I took that class with Singer Griffin.
and you just have to kind of. I'm not certain it's worth the effort to do it, but it's very interesting. It's just a new technique that you could use.
And this is a Chrissy Gardner pattern. This is Y East. Is that how you would say it?
I think so.
Socks.
Now that's two of the sock patterns are done out of a sport weight. This was one, and the Star Athena is another one. And then I believe the rest are out of a fingering weight. I didn't really look and see, but at least
So
two
this
of
is
them
Y
are
eight.
out of a sport weight.
Yeah, and that was nice. It's nice to not
Yeah.
only have fingering patterns.
Oh,
to
it's
choose
nice to
from.
have a variety, because sometimes I look for sport weight patterns, and I can never find sport weight patterns that I like.
So this is the book excerpt. I can never say that word. And it's by
Excerpt.
Stephanie Vanderlinden. And I actually bought this book when it was still in German because I loved the pattern so much. I can't speak a word of German.
It's this one.
Yeah.
That's the German version. And I was interested, there's an article that accompanied this pattern
Mm-hmm.
about how she made the book and kind of the history of the book. And the original German book, if you bought it in Germany, had a DVD that came with it.
Mine?
I don't know.
No, because it's bendable, so there's no DVD in it.
But the original did have a DVD, which I thought was very cool.
It does have some interesting extra things in the back. I did not never noticed it because all I ever did was open it and look through it because obviously I don't speak German, but I didn't know that it was going to be published in the U.S. This was a year or two ago when it first came out.
That's pretty.
So I bought it. And if somebody's got the English version and they want the German version, let me know. We can trade. But
I
this,
have the English version, but I'm not going to show
I
it.
know you won't. This is what it was. This is called Colorful Folklore. I actually like these quite a bit.
So if you do not have the book and you like these socks,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a totally awesome way to get that pattern.
Yeah, and she's got little, I don't want to show y'all because again, copyright, but there are some tutorials even
Yep.
embedded in the pattern on how to do certain aspects of it. Overall, it's $15. You get 5 patterns, so that's around $3 a pattern. Plus, you do get some videos.
Oh, a lot of videos with a lot of different techniques,
Mm-hmm.
and especially if you do a lot of toe-up socks, the bind-off, what was it, 4 different bind-offs
4 different
alone
bind-offs, yeah.
might be worthwhile.
There are ads in it, so that is something to be aware of. There are 21 pages, and 4 of those pages are ads. They are beautiful ads.
Oh, and I loved, actually it was kind of cool because the ads have video embedded in
Mhm.
them, so you get to see like a little commercial. There is a new sock book that Interweave's putting out
Oh
in
yeah,
July.
that Ann Bud, right?
By Ann Bud, and I totally watched the ad like 3 times. I was like, ooh, I've got to get that book.
Yeah, it was cool, and of course, it is one thing I will definitely give Interweave credit for is their ads are beautiful.
Oh, they always are beautiful.
Their design layout is lovely, so I'll give them credit for that. But just that is a point of interest. There are 4 ads in 21 pages, so about a quarter of it is ads. But they are clickable too, so they add, they do an advertisement for such and such, and you can click on it and go to that designer.
And they're all related to sock
Mhm.
knitting in some way.
Yeah. So that's our review of Sockupied 2011.
Spring
2011,
2011,
there
because
will
there
be
is a
more.
summer one that is coming out.
We hope that it was useful to you. And now on to awesome, happy things.
It
Not that that wasn't happy, but I
was
don't.
our book review.
I don't
slash
like
review.
giving negative criticism, but not everything is perfect. I like to be honest about it. So we have a ton of more stuff for our
Yay.
giveaway on 1 year anniversary. And okay, Laura and I have decided that because we have too much stuff, what we're going to do is we're going to split up the stuff across the
Yeah.
entire month of April. What we're going to do is next Sunday, when we have all the prizes in, we should have all the prizes in.
Sunday.
We're going to count how many we have. We're going to divide that number by 4, and we're going to try to split stuff up evenly for the giveaway. So you'll have 4 weeks worth of chances to win something. We hope that makes it easier, better, faster, more wonderful.
Do you want to talk about how they'll be able to enter, or do you want to wait till next week?
No, I think that the earlier we say so, earlier we mention, the better. What we're going to do, because we love y'all coming to the blog and leaving comments, but it is easier for us to do random number generators if it's on Ravelry because your post is already assigned a number.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it easier. So what we're
Yep.
going to do
is we're going to have a thread in the Ravelry group that might be, I'm going to say it's going to be entitled Prize Drawing
week 1.
Week, with the date, and you can leave a comment.
Multiple comments will be deleted.
Yes.
1 entry per week per person, please.
We will be the mods of doom.
Yes.
So 1 entry per week, and we will go from there. So
The only
hopefully we'll
requirement
see a lot.
will be that you be a member of the group.
Yes.
If you're a guest, just join the group, and then if you don't, 1 month's over, just leave it if you want. But
Yep.
just be a member, because we're going to choose members only for it, and just leave a comment. All you have to do is say, pick me, or whatever, and when we do the random number generator, whoever's assigned to the post
Yep.
numbers will win.
And that will be starting next week.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that y'all
So,
remember that.
for those of you that don't watch us on the day that we come out, or if you get behind, we understand that. But for, April 3rd will be the next day that we record, and it'll be the first week we start to give out prizes. You have to put in your entry by the time that we record the following week, because that's when we're
I'm going to
do
say
it.
midnight, the
Saturday
Saturday.
night, okay.
Saturday night, midnight.
That's fair.
Because that gives you enough time.
Central Standard Time.
Yes. That gives you enough time, even if it's Eastern, it's not going to really matter.
Yeah.
But that gives you enough time to get it in, and that gives us enough time that people aren't last minute doing stuff, and we will lock the thread when it's done.
And we want to be fair, and we understand not everybody watches us the instant that we come out, but you have to.
You should this month.
Yeah, you have to put in your entry to win within the week of that podcast, and there will be 4 weeks worth. So.
And you don't even have to watch us that week. You can just decide, hey, I should go click over on the Ravelry group and see if that thread's up.
But we like it better when you do watch, because at least then you know what you could win.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of what you could win, we have some new stuff.
Yay!
So first I'm going to go over the patterns. We've had a few designers contact us and say, I'll donate X number of copies of X pattern. So what we're going to do is talk about that first. So first, Patty Waters, whose Ravelry name is Pattisan, Pattisan, she's got a shop on Ravelry with tons of patterns, and she's donating 12 patterns to.
So that'll be
the
12
giveaway.
Separate prizes.
So that'll be 3 a week. We'll probably do for her.
Excuse me.
And we have 3 patterns from Sarah Montie, SarahMontie. She's got a Ravelry designer page. So she's donating 3 copies of patterns, and then Stephanie Bold is donating a copy of Morgaine, which is a lovely shawl, a copy of that pattern to the list, the ever-growing giant list of patterns and stuff.
Of doom.
Now I've got a bunch of stuff over here that people have sent us this week to be included in the drawing. First, our friend Lisa Beamer opened a new shop, Fiber Nymph Dye Works, I think. Yeah, Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And she was gracious enough to send us a skein to give away. So this, I want this. I want this a lot. This is called Mint Chocolate Chip, and it's beautiful. And it's a self-striping 2-stripe colorway, or 2 colorway stripes. So there's the mint green and then the chocolate brown.
And her shop does update. It updated this last Friday. I think there's still fiber available in there. There wasn't any self-striping yarn when I looked.
She had a great opening. Lots of people jumped on her stuff. But this is a limited.
She sent me a birthday present.
She did. A limited edition base, 90% merino, 10% nylon. It's very squishy. I like it a lot. And this one is called Mint Chocolate Chip. So thank you, Lisa. This is going in the giveaway pile. So it's a brand new from her first update.
Opening.
So
Yep. That's very cool.
do you want to show what she sent you for your birthday?
Yes, because it's my birthday.
She sent me something as well, but I don't have it with me, so I can't show you.
I got As You Wish,
Which is a Princess Bride reference.
inspired by Laura, from Lisa. And it's blues and greens and blacks, and it makes me happy. I may have already custom ordered something else for her. Just gonna throw that out there.
We have to do that to some extent. Go ahead and order what we want, because once we tell y'all, it's great stuff. You want some of it, and that's fine. But then we can't get it anymore.
Twisted Lemon,
Yeah.
story of my life. I've not been able to get Twisted Lemon since that episode.
She doesn't do special orders anymore, I don't
Nope.
think. All right.
Well,
Also,
she opens them for brief periods of time, I think.
does she?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't. All right, I can't get this to do what I want it to do.
It hates you. It told me so.
Our friend Carrie, whose Etsy shop is Jelby, Jelby. She does designs. In fact, I'm going to show you this real quick. This was something that I got from her shop. It's turned around. She does a lot of hand felting, and I say hand felting, you might go, huh? But really, it's just unbelievable. It's beautiful. I saw that she did something similar to this in her shop, and I needed it. I wanted it, but it had already been sold, so I had to wait. Can you believe that? That's my diva coming out, sorry. So then she made this for me.
I feel like you should have a Snickers bar commercial for your diva.
This is a peacock, and then the little one is separate, and it's a feather, a little peacock feather. And I think this was $22 or $25, I can't remember, dollars. And I ordered this. As soon as it went up on her shop, I went and bought it because I wanted it. I think it was, she had reserved it for me because she knew that I wanted it so much. But
Carrie's sweet.
she is. And so she also sent us something for the giveaway. And this is what she sent. These are, it's a set of stitch markers, a set of 8, I think. 7 of them are these adorable
Gorgeous
little
pearls.
freshwater pearls. I don't know how to show you all this the best here. And then she also included one of her little felted stitch markers. This is a little sheep.
So cute. I love her stuff.
Yeah, so
I could go broke at Carrie's.
she really does have a lot of gorgeous stuff. So she's including this in the giveaway. So we want to thank Carrie very much.
Carrie.
You're very cheerleader today.
I am.
So this is
Mainly
going in the
because I
giveaway.
messed up my thing and I'm going back and I'm like, I'll fix it.
And then Pandora's Slave has a shop called The Elusive Thread, I think. Yeah, The Elusive Thread. And so she sent us this 4 ounces
That's gorgeous.
of
Those are
amethyst
so my
fizz
colors.
for the giveaway. And this is a 50-50 merino tinsel blend. So it is
super
quite lovely.
pretty.
And this will also go into the giveaway pile. So we wanted to thank her very much for sending this.
Yay.
We have some awesome people who have contributed. Speaking of awesome people, I have 2
Is
more.
it Sharon?
No, we're gonna do Sharon last.
Oh, it's diabolical.
It's
She's pretty
diabolical.
awesome too.
Yeah, so she had some stuff up in her shop, and I was
very
like, I
awesome.
haven't bought anything from Diabolical in a little while. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy something else.
And I bought the sock yarn the week before.
Yeah. So this is called Dance Mistress. It's Falkland. It's 4 ounces, and it just made me happy. It's odd colors for me, but I think that
They
it's
work
lovely.
really well together.
And
It's
you could
gorgeous.
gradient spin it. It would be so pretty. Which might be what I do eventually when I get around
Use
to
it for a
spinning.
tutorial.
I could.
Gradient spinning. That would be super fun.
My list keeps getting longer.
And I keep just adding to it.
Yeah.
I'm not contributing to the decrease of this list at all,
So,
it seems like.
when I ordered that, I mentioned to her that we were doing, the giveaway. I reminded her, so she sent a bunch of stuff.
So much stuff.
Oh my goodness, it's 7 skeins.
Of gorgeousness.
Yes, it's a mohair. It's kind of similar to Kid Silk Haze, I think.
Which I like to call Kid Silk Crack.
It's kid mohair and nylon. Here, let me get it all out so I can show you all of the loveliness. And
Oh, I really like that one.
so this is all the colors that she sent.
Those
And
are
it's
pretty.
220 yards per skein. 86% kid mohair, 14% nylon. It's lovely. It's just got a nice kind of hairy halo on it that I like a lot, and I think this one's my favorite. I like this one.
That one's my favorite too. That's
But
pretty.
it's all going for y'all for the giveaway, so that adds even more prizes to the giveaway. Somebody's going to have a count at some point to see how. That's going to be us next week,
Yeah.
I think.
It's a count to divide it by 4.
Yeah. And last but very definitely not least, our friend Seashore Sharon, who you'll have heard of her before because every time we do any kind of giveaway,
She's
she
on
donates.
it.
And she's already donated something for this giveaway, the blue zippered bag with the button. But she's donating another thing for the giveaway.
Her sewing machine is a roaring. I love this bag.
Yes, it's kind
I'm
of
using mine. She sent us some too.
a box squared bag.
Oh, and it's perfect.
And it's got a handle on it. It's got her little handmade tag, this handcrafted at Sharon's Seaside Cottage. And it's got a nice heavy zipper pull on it and coordinating fabric on the inside. And the seams look great. It's nice and clean. So this will
That's
also
gorgeous.
go into the prize pool. And Sharon, as always, we love you.
Thank you, Sharon.
We have to go up to New Jersey and visit her.
Yes, we do. We totally do.
So that's...
One year when we go to Rhinebeck, we'll
Yeah.
see Sharon.
Maybe next year.
Maybe.
So that, believe it or not, that's all the prizes that we have for this week. Oh dear Jesus, we're 50 minutes again.
We didn't talk that much, I swear.
I have nothing to show and still we're at 50 minutes. Okay, I think that we've gotten through all the prizes. Oh, okay, so the last thing that we have is travel. We already mentioned this, we're going to do a quick mention again. Next week we start the giveaways, and then the following weekend, well the following Friday and early Saturday, we'll be in St. Louis at Camp Kip. And there's a ton of podcasters and a ton of podcast viewers / listeners that will be there. So we hope to get some film while we're there. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, we'll see.
You never know.
And so then we'll record regular that week, and then the following week we'll be at Stitches, spending some time with Numma Numma and a bunch of our viewers who are going to be there. So
which, if you want to be one of those viewers and you're going to Stitches, is it
There's
South?
Stitches South. There's a thread on Ravelry where you just let us know that you're going to be there. We're going to be roaming the market all day on Saturday, but if y'all have any ideas about a good place to meet up, we don't want to interfere with the other things that are already scheduled. I know somebody's Knit Witch, is that who it is, who has a dinner on Saturday night?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. If you're not a member of the Stitches South group on Ravelry, you're missing out because there's a lot of activity going on with that.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be awesome.
If you're going,
we
I
looked
should
through
say.
the vendor list and it looks the other day and it looks nice.
We did because we were looking to see if there were signatures coming, so I could just buy. I could email them and get one and not have to pay shipping.
My credit card is already crying from.
I got my tax refund,
damage.
so I'm excited. I'm saving it. We'll see. I might only get 2 skeins. You might have to hold me to that. I think I'm only going to purchase.
No such obligation for that.
I think I'm only going to purchase 2 skeins of yarn while I'm there.
I'm going to make the effort to not buy anything I already have and only buy something that's new to me.
Okay.
That seems like a reasonable goal.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a reasonable goal.
Okay.
Unless there's Woolmize.
There's no Woolmize, but and already I have enough of that. I actually resisted a couple of these stashes this week because I have enough. But
Let's talk. Can we talk about Woolmize D-stashes for a second?
Sure.
Because you're the Woolmize mod, and we've had a lot of questions lately about how to get Woolmize. And since I mentioned it today, I feel like this is a good opportunity.
That's a good idea.
At the very end. So, if I was going to get Woolmize, there's one place in the U.S. where I can get it, correct?
That is the Loopy U. She's the only U.S. distributor of Woolmize that I'm aware of. She does distribute to Loop in London, and she has her own brick and mortar store in Pfaffenhofen. And she does updates.
Which is in Germany.
Yes, Germany, sorry. She does updates, regular updates. I think it's Thursday, or late Thursday night, Friday morning, U.S. time. And then Saturday, I think she does some. There's a group on Ravelry called Woolmizeaholics Anonymous, which I'm a moderator for, along with 3 other people. And there's newbie threads and there's group pages that give you every bit of information you could possibly want. And there's also, every month, there's an ISO thread, which is in search of. And on that thread, you can see people who are destashing every single day. There's at least a dozen new people who are trying to get rid of something or trying to find something. And the prices are reasonable most of the time. Don't go to eBay for it if you can avoid it, because you're just going to pay ridiculous prices. Woolmize, she does regular updates. You do have to stalk. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. You do have to stalk if you want to get something from her update.
If you want to get an update, or if you want to get Loopy U, and my suggestion, if you're going to try to get it from the Loopy U, is to subscribe, become one of her Twitter followers, or one of her Facebook followers, because she puts it there, and then it goes up.
Yeah.
So if you're really wanting to stalk, use your technology as an advantage, and kind of go from there. Also, there are people destashing on Ravelry every single day. If you go to the Yarn tab on Ravelry, and type in Woolmize under the search for, and go pick whether you want the 100% or the 80-20 or the lace, and you click on the word stashes. The first thing that pops up are pages and pages of people destashing. Do not pay more than what for a sock?
I would say, because you have to, a lot of times you have to include the factor of postage
Shipping.
from Germany, which a lot of these people did. I would say anything in the range of $32 to $38 a skein is reasonable. Now, when it comes
If
to
that
lace,
includes shipping,
if
right?
it includes shipping.
Okay.
When it comes to lace, it varies a little bit more, but anything between 55 and 65.
And that's for what gram yardage on the lace?
300 grams, and that's about 1,700 yards, which is a lot. Try to find one of those suckers, and then tell me that's not a lot of yarn.
And I have some up for dispatch right now. I have a scan of orange that orange is not me. I don't know why I bought it. But there are people, and that doesn't mean that y'all should buy my yarn. I'm just saying, there are people every day that have wool mice up. It is a little bit more expensive, but the yardage is 575 yards
for 100%. It's 574 yards. For the 80/20, it's 500 and I want to say 15 or something similar to that. So it's more than enough for any socks as long as they're not knee highs. It's more than enough for any pair of socks. So off the wool miles a tangent. But a lot of people have asked us that. That's why we put that in.
And I wanted to put that in while I was thinking about it because y'all know it'll go out of this brain. I swear thoughts escape through my ear.
She had her teacher voice on there for a minute. You know? So anyway, you can find us on Plurk. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Ravelry.
Yep.
The website, TheKnitGirlls3ls.com.
Yep. iTunes.
iTunes, yes. If you haven't left a star rating or review, please go ahead and do so for not just us, but all of your podcasters. That's it.
And that's it.
So we will see you guys again next week. Laura's birthday is Thursday. Everybody feel free.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Damn it. I'll get it right eventually. Everybody wish her a happy birthday. And
or just ignore my existence, which is awesome as well. Don't feel obligated.
Don't get all emo on me now. But okay, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye y'all.